On September 14th, 1964, the Kellogg Company begins selling Pop-Tarts, revolutionizing the breakfast food market. The idea for the Pop-Tart came when Kellogg's biggest competitor, Post, announced publicly that it would soon release shelf-stable breakfast pastries called Country Squares. Despite the announcement, Country Squares were not quite ready for release, and Kellogg's responded by rushing to develop its own version, beating Post to the market. Ironically, the man who developed the Pop-Tart for Kellogg's was named William Post, though he is not related to the Post cereal family. Kellogg's initially decided to call its new breakfast pastries Fruit Scones, but soon renamed them Pop-Tarts, a play on pop art, the term for the mid-20th century art movement made famous by Andy Warhol, with his images of people like Marilyn Monroe and objects like Campbell's soup cans. Pop-Tarts were originally available in 4 flavors: strawberry, blueberry, apple-currant, and brown sugar cinnamon. They were an instant hit. Sales were so robust that Kellogg's had to put out ads apologizing for the initial lack of supply. The ads read, "Oops, we goofed. Will you excuse us, please? We ran out of Pop-Tarts." In 1967, Kellogg's began adding frosting after figuring out a formula that wouldn't melt in the toaster. There are now dozens of varieties of Pop-Tarts, and year-over-year sales have grown steadily for decades, with consumers buying more than 3 billion in the year 2022 alone. William Post, the father of the Pop-Tart, died in 2024 at age 96. Here are other events that happened today in history. In 1812, Napoleon Bonaparte's Grand Army of France enters Moscow, only to find the city deserted. In 1814, during the War of 1812, Francis Scott Key pens the poem that becomes America's national anthem. In 1847, during the Mexican-American War, U.S. General Winfield Scott captures Mexico City. In 1901, Theodore Roosevelt is sworn in as U.S. President following the death of William McKinley. In 1968, rock pioneer Roy Orbison loses 2 of his 3 sons when his home in Tennessee burns down. In 2001, U.S. President George W. Bush visits first responders and volunteers at Ground Zero. In 2021, Broadway reopens at full capacity after an 18-month shutdown due to the COVID pandemic. And now it's time for our Today in History quiz. 4 days after the September 11th attacks, an Indian-American man was murdered in a post-9/11 hate crime in which U.S. state? Arizona, California, Colorado, or Idaho? Think you know the answer? Drop your guesses in the comments below. Find out if you're right next time on Today in History. You made it through Today in History. Nice work. Now treat yourself. Click the video on the right for what happened yesterday in history. Still can't get enough? The link on the left's got the whole playlist buffet. Want to make history a daily habit? Click my face in the middle to subscribe.